All right, good evening, everyone. How are you doing? It's one of those lovely evening impromptus. How are we doing this evening? How was your day? It's a beautiful evening, and just one of my pop-in sessions where I just pop in here after I am done with the kids for the evening for a little chit chat. Who is online? Who is sex? Who wants to engage in a little chit chat this evening for, say, 15 to 20 minutes? Yep. Who wants to engage? All right. So today I want to talk about toddlers. So in the month of March, which happens to be my birthday month, I'm going to be doing a lot of, I'm going to be doing a lot of teaching and having conversations around and about toddlers and how toddler parents can maximize the opportunity that they have with their toddler children. Because I promise you, this stage of your child's life is the most is the best stage for learning. Yes, it's that stage where you can lock in so much, right? And it so happens that it's that stage where we take for granted because we do not have the knowledge that we need to have, okay, to understand how the brains of our toddlers work, or how toddlers work, toddlers, and your school age children, right? Toddlers, we're looking at toddlers, we're looking at preschool kids, and then school age kids, basically. So think of it this way: when I'm talking about toddlers and school age kids, think of it, I'm talking about your children that are between, say, 2 year olds and your 2 year olds to your 7 year olds. So your toddlers fall in here. In fact, your toddlers begin from about one. So think of it, I'm talking about your 1 year old, your 18-month-old child, or you're talking about your 3 year olds, your 4 year olds, your 6 year olds. Now let's cap it to about your 7 year olds. Very, very important phase in the life of your children. Dear parents, a child who learns early not only gathers knowledge. Your child who begins to learn early will not only gather knowledge, but will sow seeds of holistic learning, thereby cultivating a rich harvest of wisdom, curiosity, and empathy. If you are able to introduce your young children, your toddlers, to learning beyond just what happens in the school, because a lot of times we think these children are so little and there's no need to bother about them learning. So as far as we've taken them to school, they've learned 1 to 100, 1 to 200, 1 to 1,000, and all of that. And they've learned to start, blending words, using sound to create words and all of that. We think that, hey, everything is sorted. The child is talking, the child is learning, the child is saying all of those sweet things that we hear our young children say, and we're excited that they are learning. But do you know that there's much more that you can lock in there? There's much more that you can do with your toddlers, your preschoolers, and your school age children, your children between ages 1 to your children between ages 1 to 7. There's so much that you can do as parents, okay, just by simply becoming intentional about their learning and helping them to learn extracurricular activities beyond the classroom. Now, when I talk about extracurricular activity, I'm not just talking about sports, because most times when we hear extracurricular activities, we think, okay, we're done, school is sorted. They're learning math and science and learning how to blend words and all of that. After that, oh, let them go and learn one sport. Let them go and do coding and all of that, and we've moved on. But hey, there's so much you can do. You can introduce your child, right? You can introduce your child to personal development. You can introduce them to skills beyond just this ones. You can introduce them to so much, right? You can start learning, helping them learn about their environment. You can start helping them learn about the things that happen in your home, about their family. A lot can be locked in there if we can start teaching our children early. The question is, or the question people would ask, I've said this many times. Okay, did I introduce myself? My name is Maribeth Chima. By the way, I am the convener of the Parenting Through Mentorship Academy and PTM resources. And of course, I am the proud matron of the Mastermind Circle. The Mastermind Circle is a peer mentorship and accountability group where we work with young children between ages 6 and 14. So you understand what I'm talking about, your school, your toddlers, your preschoolers, and then your school age children. Because I work with children around these brackets, okay? I work with at least the older ones in this group. I work with your 6-year-olds. But I know working with your 6-year-olds, working with 6-year-olds, I know that a lot of what we're doing with the 6-year-olds and above will be easier if parents understand how much they can lock into the first 6-7 years of the children's life, from 0 to about 6. Okay, so that's a lot that you can do with your child from 0 to about 6, where you will skill your children up. You would introduce habits that can last, and they can transform these habits, right, even as they grow older. So yes, it's very important that children start learning beyond just math and English and what happens in the classroom. It's important that at home, you create a system in your home where your children can start learning as early as possible. As I said, when a child learns early, the child doesn't only gather knowledge, but the child begins to sow seeds of holistic learning, meaning the child is learning in every area. The child is learning social skills, emotional skills, right? The child is learning about their spiritual beliefs, ideology, and all of that. You are helping the child build the right mindset around all of these things, right? Your child is learning home management. Your child is learning self-management. The child is learning financial skills. Oh, yes. Yes, your 2-year-old is learning financial skills. Your child is learning leadership skills. Your child is learning all of these things at the same time. So when you do this, when you introduce your child to developing personal development, what happens is your child learns holistically, and that child is set apart. That child is not your regular child who just goes to school and learns 1 to 20, 1 to 200, or whatever number, and just learns to blend. So what we are saying is, there is more to learning than just what happens in school. You can create a system in your home where your child is learning beyond the classroom, where your child is learning beyond just structured learning that happens in school. All right, I'm going to give you 3 reasons why this is important, why you should. I have come to beg you to start doing this, right? Because it is so key. I'm telling you, if you have a toddler right now, you have a baby right now, and you start incorporating what I am talking to you about today and in this month of March, I'm telling you, you will, in the next in the next 1 year, you will be amazed at what you would have done with that child. You will see. If you have older children, you would just tell the difference between this child that you are intentional, about their learning, compared to the child that, it was just about going to school, coming back, and then playing and all of that. So first thing is, when you nurture your child to learn, right, early, that's learning. Their learning becomes really very holistic, because you diversify in their learning beyond what happens in the class. So when you do this, you will raise a child who is limitless. You will raise a child who is curious. You will raise a child who has their imagination is wild, because it's not just about math, English, and the simple things that they learn in school. You are opening the child up, right? You are talking about the issues around them. You are exposing them to the things that happen around the world, okay? Because, as I said, it's not just one area. You're looking at self-management. You're already teaching the child about their body. You're already teaching the child beyond the scope that any school can teach them, because now you are intentional and you are creating a personalized plan, more or less, for this child, because you want to help the child learn beyond just the simple things that happen in class. Now, I'm not saying that you should start teaching your 2-year-olds about puberty. There is the kind of sex education, okay, or about their bodies that you would teach your child at that stage. Now, when you commit and you learn how to go about this, then you know what exactly you need to teach your child per time. And that is why we are here to help you. That is why we're doing this, because we want to teach you, we want to guide you, we want to support you to see the extent that it is limitless what your children can learn, even at their age, right? Even as young as they are, what they can learn that is age appropriate. All right, very, very key. Dear parents, early learning, okay, will ignite curiosity in your child, which in turn will open the child to problem solving and thereby lead the child to be someone who loves to learn. So if you want to raise a lifelong learner, if you want to raise a child who is self-aware, you want to raise a child who is self-sufficient, then you want to introduce the child to learning as early as possible. Very, very important. Okay? Curiosity and critical thinking. Yes, that's the next thing. Curiosity and critical thinking. When you raise children and you expose your children to varying stimulating activities in your environment, what it does is it sparks the child's ability to think. It helps the child begin to ask questions about the things around them, because hey, you are not killing their natural instincts. You are not just about the child being in a classroom where they are telling the child where to sit at every point. The child is supposed to sit a certain way, the child is supposed to write a certain way, the child is supposed to be in a certain space, okay? And that is all the kind of learning that is happening usually in a formal place. But when you embrace, and you are intentional about your child learning early from home, what it does is it allows you explore. It allows you open the child up to explore their environment. It allows you create a safe environment where your child is not, when the limits for your child's learning is not capped. You allow the child to discover for themselves. You allow the child to explore their environment. You allow the child to ask questions. And when children start asking questions, the next thing that happens is they start creating, or when they start asking questions, they begin to create hypotheses, right? The child will come up with hypotheses. You will find that the child is asking questions. The child is thinking of a solution to their own problems, or you can think together about the solutions to the questions that the child is asking. Now, when you do this, you find that the child wants to try, because you are not inhibiting their curiosity. It's not about stand up, stand in the line, stand in the queue, walk to the class, come back, sit down, you can't touch, hold your hands, fold your hands. No, when you open your child to learning and you create a curriculum for learning in a way that we would teach you to, you realize that you open the child to endless possibilities. You open the child to endless possibilities for exploration. And as I said, the child will ask questions. The child will begin to profile. The child will come up with hypotheses. The child will come up with, answers to their own questions. Or you can think of those answers together. When you do this, the next thing the child wants to do is the child wants to experiment. Now, the child wants to experiment because children are curious like that, and they don't leave their curiosity just as that. They take it to the next level by trying to see this thing that I am thinking, or this thing that this person has said. I want to try it out. Now, children will start trying it out. And when they try it out, you realize that they will come up with solutions. They will come up with solutions to solve the same questions that started from then. What do you think is happening to your child at this stage? You are raising a confident child, because the child becomes confident in their own ability. The child is self-assured. The child begins to Have the champion's mentality, because just look at it. You looked at something or you saw something, you were curious about it, you asked questions, you provided some sort of, came up with your own hypothesis. Maybe if I do this, this is what will happen, and then you try it out, and then you see the result is that way, or you find out whatever result it is, the child begins to feel like a champion. This is how creators are born. This is how innovators, right? People who innovate, people who what do you call it? Create people. I mean, this is how they they come about, basically. All right, and that's why when you look in this part of the world, I'm talking about Africa right now. Okay, and when you look amongst us, Black people, Africans, a lot of the times, you realize that most times we are not creative. Even for those of us who leave the shores of this country, right? There is usually that mindset, okay, because we were not allowed to explore a lot when we were growing up. We were not, our curiosity or our impulses were shut down, basically, right? It affects us for the longest time. So you realize we want to study, we want to cram, we want to give back what it is that you have taught us. We are so good at excelling and coming out with distinctions when it comes to studying and giving out what we have studied. But when it comes to creating, when it comes to trusting our own ability to start something from scratch and execute to the end, there are very few of us who there are very few of us who break that barrier and come out to be successful that way. That's why a lot of times you will count, you will count the number, even in the diaspora, you will count the number of people who come to that point where we break all our limits, especially the limits of our traumas, and where we're coming from. When we break it to the extent that we are the ones who are starting things, innovating, inventing things, and making big breaks. But hey, we can change that narrative today. We can change that narrative today by the kind of children we are raising. What we need to do is expose our children to learning, real, authentic learning that can be related to real life situation. And hey, the home is the best place to spark this curiosity. The home is the best place to introduce this to your child. The home is the first school. Yes, your home is your child's first school. When you start this with your child as early as possible at home, I'm talking about your toddlers, your 18 months old. Yes, I'm talking about starting that early. When the child even goes to school, I promise you, your child will be exceptional. The last one I'm going to be talking about, remember I said I'm here for about 15 to 20 minutes. I still have about 3 minutes. The last one I'm going to be talking about is their social-emotional growth. When you expose children to learning early, when your toddlers begin to learn beyond just math, science, and English, they begin to learn beyond, just those things, okay? They begin to learn in 8 different dimensions the 8 different dimensions that we share or we introduce to parents in the academy, okay? We introduce you to your child learning in 8 different dimensions. They're what do you call it? Your home management, your self-management. Home management, self-management, when you're dealing with all of that, okay? You're dealing with what you call it. Words are failing me. Self-management, home management, your skills in the area of your interests and your talents, right? When you're able to tap into what interests you have, what talents you have, and you begin to build and hone it, we point you to that. We point you to building leadership skills in these children. We point you to building financial skills in the children. We point you to all of these different dimensions. And as you are helping your children grow in all of these areas, what you realize is you are raising or you are nurturing a child who is holistic. You're nurturing them in a holistic way because your child will be wholesome, because they're not just learning in one direction, they're learning in many directions. And this is what learning should be, especially in the times that we are in right now. So yes, your child will grow in their social-emotional growth, okay, by interacting with their peers. Now, it's not just about being confined in a small space where you have only 10 minutes to be together or 10 minutes to play, okay? It is opening them up to learning, opening them up to social settings, opening them up to building emotional skills and all of that. And now when you do that through their interactions with their peers, interactions with their mentors, interactions with their coaches, interactions with you and different kind of people, what you realize is your child begins to build the social skills that they need to navigate. They begin to build the emotional skills that they need to regulate their emotions per time. Okay, now that brings us to a masterclass that my team and I will be hosting this Saturday. Yes, on the 16th of March, right? You want to be a part of that class. In that class, we will be showing you how you can use play, which happens to be the language of learning for your child, which happens to be the language of exploration, which happens to be the language of growth, the language of love to your child. Do you know that your child can, every activity to your child is play? Every activity, even learning, can come across to your child as play, provided you know how to, provided you have the strategy or you know the strategy that you need to incorporate fun into that learning. So yes, your child will be learning math, your child will be learning science, your child will be learning about self-management, home management, emotional intelligence, social skills. Your child will be learning in all areas, academic area. The child will be learning in the academic area. They'll be learning spirituality. They will be learning in all of these 8 dimensions that we talk about. And yet, to your child, they are playing. Because yes, if you want your toddler, your school age children, your preschool children to learn, then you have to make sure that they are learning through play. You have to make sure that that learning is fun and play is incorporated. I know what I'm talking about because a lot of us, we don't even know how to help our children have fun when they are doing their homework. Yes, we don't know how to help our toddlers have fun while they are doing their homework. See this life that is see this life that is tougher as they grow older. Now they are toddlers, the point where they need to start loving and enjoying learning. You are not using the right strategy. So that's why you find out before you know it, your children are 10 and 12. And you need to bring one lesson teacher after the other. Because, hey, the child naturally does not enjoy learning. Because at the point where learning could have been presented to the child in a fun way that the child embraces and begins to enjoy it, you were busy being serious. You were busy being busy because, hey, as far as we were concerned, or you were concerned at the time, going to school was enough. And so you didn't use the opportunity that you had at that time by virtue of the phase where the child was at the time to look in learning in all areas. And so the child becomes 10 and 12 and the child is struggling because the foundation is wrong. As I said, we have a masterclass that is coming up and you can be a part of that masterclass. Guess what? The masterclass is actually free. The masterclass is free for you, okay, but you need to register, okay? Oh no, you just need to join us even. So there is a platform where you come in and from that platform, we will, we will shoot from the platform basically. So all you need to do is click the link and join us in the WhatsApp group. So if you are watching me on Facebook at the end of this session, this video, okay, at the end of this live session, just check in the comments and you will see the link where you can click and join over 200 parents who are already waiting for this masterclass on Saturday. All right, if you are on YouTube, you can scroll, just take a screenshot of my screen right now. Okay, you have some information scrolling on the bar, okay, below, take a screenshot, and you can use the number right there to send us a message. Just send interested in the toddler masterclass, and we will give you, we will share the link with you to join us, okay? Where we have over 200 parents already waiting to be a part of this masterclass. Yes. And then, do you have children who are older than toddlers? All right. Do you have children who are 6, right, to 14? Then you want to register them for our upcoming conference. Yes, it's the Mastermind Beginners Children Conference 2024. The first edition was last year, where we had amazing children doing great things already come in to inspire young children to think of themselves as more. I think the theme last year was baby steps or something like that. This year, our theme is the future is bright. So yes, you want to enroll your 6-year-olds up to your 15-year-olds to be a part of this. We're going to have morning session for the younger children, 0 to 10, and we'll have the evening sessions for the older kids, 10 to 15. It's going to be an amazing time. We have children from all around the world who will be sharing their experiences, who will be sharing their success stories, who will be sharing their process, who will be sharing how they've gotten scholarships, how they've gotten opportunities, how they've used their skills, how they've used their talents, how they have grown in their fields of interest over the years. You do not want to miss this conference, and you don't want your child to miss this conference. So why don't you go ahead and use the link scrolling? If you are on YouTube, you can also take a screenshot. In that screenshot, you have the information also to join the conference, or just send us a message too and let us know you want to join the conference. If you're on Facebook, the link is going to be right there at the end of this message. Just click the link and go ahead and join the conference. Yes, and we have our parents roundtable at the end, the last day after the conference, the last day of the conference. We are going to have a parents roundtable. If you have been at any of our parents' roundtable after our children's conference, then you will know that it is always a banger. As in, it is always. I remember last year we were in that roundtable. We had 3 parents, right? We had 4 parents. We had 4 guests in that session, and we had the parents. We were there. It was supposed to be a 1-hour class, but by the time it was 2 hours, parents did not want to go. So yes, if you register your child, you get a chance to be at that round table also. So you don't want to miss this conference, and you do not want your child to miss being a part of this conference. So 2 amazing opportunities that we have given to you as toddler parents. We want to embrace you also and have something for you, even as we have for our parents of all the children and our preteens. All right, so we can't wait to have you in the class on Saturday, and we can't wait to have you at the conference come April. Thank you very much, everyone. If you were here and you got value from the session, let me see you in the comment section. Is there something you want to do different? If you know a toddler parent who needs to be here, you know a parent with toddler kids, then they have to be here. Why don't you go ahead and tag them or share the links to this video with them on YouTube, so that they can be a part of this experience. Thank you for joining me. Have a fantastic rest of the evening. Bye-bye. All right. So bye. I want to see your child at that conference. Yes. And you need to be at that round table. It's going to be such an amazing session. Thank you.